This is the Bottom Line Liberia. Join us on Facebook, YouTube and online radio. This is the Bottom Line Liberia. Join us on Facebook, YouTube and online radio.
Through trials and tribulations, you have prevailed. The spirit is unbreakable, never derailed. With a rich heritage and culture and grace, Liberia, you are the land we embrace.
You are welcome to the Bottom Line Liberia.
And yes, indeed, you are welcome to the Bottom Line Liberia. Today, this beautiful Tuesday evening from our end, the 14th day of January 2025, we're going to be bringing you very interesting discussions this evening. Alongside with me is my colleague, Paul the Lord Chiruple, and Paul is in the Great United Kingdom, and I'm in Norway. Our colleagues will be joining us along the way, but the most interesting thing tonight is that we're going to have a guest, at least one or probably two, but we show off one. So we're going to be bringing you interesting discussions, and it all has to do with Liberia. And probably, you know, Paul is here, and normally Paul will cross border. I don't know whether Paul is willing to cross border today, where we'll be talking about things that are happening outside of Africa or Liberia for that matter. But let me say welcome to Paul, the man who's behind all of the technical work here, you know. So he's going to be telling us what will be happening tonight. And after that, we're going to take a break. And we'll also introduce to you the person who's going to be our guest tonight. We'll put the flyer up. But Paul, good evening, and tell us how you're doing and what do we expect on the bottom line tonight.
Good evening, Linfo, and good evening to our viewers. This is the Lord Chilope.
This is Bottom Line Liberia.
This is the Lord Chilope here from the great city of London. Linfo, we'll start with Burkina Faso tonight and then dive into the Liberian cycle, what is happening to the host, the young men that were arrested. We'll also look at Delon apology to George Weah for private jet. So, and then when our guests come, we'll dive into the topic today. So we'll start with Burkina Faso. Something the young man is doing that is catching a lot of Africans' eyes, and people, African leaders now paying attention to our rave of Burkina Faso, the 35 years old guy. Yeah, so that's things we'll talk about. I don't know what's on your mind.
Well, on my mind tonight is not any big difference from what you're thinking about. We're going to be on the home front. But before we get on the home front, that is to discuss the issues in Liberia, we got to warm up a little bit from outside, and that will drag us back to our own country to see what's happening there. And one of the things on my mind is the death of Prince Johnson and the preparations that are going or taking place now to bury him. We understand the mortal remains of the late senator of Nima County was removed from the funeral home, and he's supposed to be lying in state tonight at the capital, and then somewhere in Monrovia. I don't know whether you got the capital. It was got up by fire, but you know, so he'll be lying in state tonight, and then after that, he will be taken to Nima County, and I listened to the itinerary of what will happen in Nima County. So basically, the body will cover almost every major towns in towns and cities in Nima County, and I don't know how well are they prepared to do that, to take him all around. But those are some of the things that we'll be talking about tonight. But Paul, we have a guest coming out. We want to put all the poster for that guest, and then right after that, we'll take our short musical break while we share the show. So tonight, we want to be discussing the issues about press freedom in Liberia, and how has press freedom challenged or helped to shape the democratic process in Liberia. You know, giving the press the freedom to speak. Has it helped, or has it been a challenge? What has it done for the country? And so that's what we'll be looking at tonight. And we expect our guests to join us later on. because of time difference. He's in the US and we're in Europe, so there's a time gap, and we're willing to catch up with that. But in the meantime, we're going to take our short musical break with Tai Kunji, and when we get back, we're going to be discussing.
My people, where you at? Where you at? Wake up from your slumber, stop sleeping. Wave your hands, wave your hands, wave your hands, wave your hands. Come on, come on, come on. I know you're sleeping now. You gotta wake up some more, yeah? Okay, let's go. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie. The people fool us, oh. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not go. I said we tired with their lies. We tired with their promises that left us to all our damages. We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrate us. So why can't you lie? Why can't you steal? Why can't you allow the citizens to be? You see, we just tell you that why we go tell you. But you fool us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie. The people fool us, oh. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not corrupt. No one to trust. My people, no one to hope on. Nobody. My hope that I have been broken. I'm telling you, brother. So where are the schools? Where are the roads? Where are the jobs that they say they could afford? But they're too selfish. The people tired with their rhetoric. People tired, they tired. You see the reason why we ask why the government betray. They have enough of time, but yeah, then instead they delay. People suffer. No work for people crying for hunger. Look at. Your vision and your mission, your intention to the nation, they poor. You got nothing to show. Nothing. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie. The people fool us, oh. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not corrupt. We tired with their promises that left us to all our damages. We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrate us. So why can't you lie? Why can't you steal? Why can't you allow the citizens to be? You see, we just tell you that why we both tell you. But you fool us. You screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie.
Through trials and tribulations, you have prevailed. The spirit is unbreakable, never derailed. With a rich heritage and culture and grace, Liberia, you are the land we embrace.
You are welcome to the bottom line, Liberia.
Okay, we like to say welcome if you joining us for the first time. My name is Linford Goer from Norway, and Paul the Lord Triple is here with me. And tonight we're going to be bringing you very interesting discussions, like we said before. So make this place your home, share the show, invite your friends, and probably grab your cup of coffee or something else. Just sit down with us and let's go through. So Paul, we back, and I want to say welcome again, and you know, you the foreign man, the foreign correspondent. So I don't know what's about the foreign news today that I want us to hear.
No, the thing is, just want to before that start, I want to say good evening to you and good evening to our viewers for following us. We'll have another interesting discussion tonight, fascinating one. Burkina Faso my intention have been during the Burkina Faso. Lately, there was a Ghanaian inauguration, and the young junta of Burkina Faso, he was a guest at that inauguration. His appearance that brought joy to a lot of Ghanaians that were at that inauguration. They got overshadowed all the presidents that were invited, including the study officer himself, the guy who should have been president. So, but this guy have done something in Burkina Faso that caught my attention. He gone back to the soil, agriculture, and this is what drew my attention. You know, beginning of last year, I think there were 300 tractors that he brought into Burkina Faso, and they did some planting. And look, this will fascinate you to know, Linfo. You see this? That's tomato
Orchard.
Yes. And the purpose of this young man, he built a processing plant in Burkina Faso. You see, he inspecting the plant, and they will be sending tomato all across the world, including Liberia as well, for sale. And
So
that's
can
the
you
young
imagine?
man. Yeah.
Can you imagine just that farm alone? If we have even half of that farm in Liberia, how big is Liberia? How big is our market? Imagine, Paul. I mean, come to think of this, our old man, they made a small garden, they plant potato green or small bitter boy and things, just where you can stand, you stretch your photo, you cover the whole area, and they can bring it in the market. They can even sell, and some will remain and even get rotting. But can you imagine? So what if we had a kind of factory? And what I'm saying is that Burkina Faso
Let me
is
put
on the
this
same
up. Yeah.
tropical belt. They on the same tropical belt like us. They are in the same West Africa like us. So we have the same type of soil. That they can do this thing. Is it impossible for us that even we have a man who got degree in agriculture? The only pitiful degree he got is in agriculture, and over the years he's been working in government, and now that he's at the head of government, we can't hear anything. No, but
So
you talk about the appearance of Ibrahim Traore at the inauguration of the Ghanaian president, and that's one thing that caught my eye. If nothing caught my eye in that whole program, I mean, two things I was thinking about. When these guys took over, the guy from Dumbuya from Guinea, Traore, and the other guy from Mali, when they took over as military leaders, wearing the West African leaders mad at them? Didn't they want to expel them? And the guy said, okay, we are walking out. But why was this guy invited? I want to start to think about why was he particularly invited to participate in that program? Because they have already expelled them. ECOWAS met and they gave that decision, even though somebody said they were trying to get them back. Then the second thing, this was sort of be a military man. And most of the people that were attending that program, the presidents, most of them are quote-unquote civilians, even though some of them came to power through military, but they are now civilians. And this is the only military man that went there. And when they called his name, the whole crowd went wild. So I was like, are they booing him? First, I no, be careful. No, but people even escorted this guy on the way out. So Paul, you know what this brought to my mind? That I think Africa or West Africa for that matter, their eyes are open now. They are seeing a different kind of leadership coming up, rising up on the horizon. That is not the old 1900 politicians who will go to the West and get bowed down to the West because they go there to beg. They don't have any developmental mind. And so this boy is bringing, or this guy, his ascendancy to the presidency, or in fact to the leadership of Burkina Faso, is introducing something new. And people saw that. Okay, and I think that's one of the reasons why people were cheering him. I don't know what you think.
Linford, you're right. And you ask a question why. The reason is this. The reason is this. Usually we have the sword, right? But we rather get Lebanese people to bring our food from somewhere around the world to sell to us. This young man opened a plant, processing plant. When he brought the agricultural equipment, people say, he's doing something, but he has shown, as young as he is, he's a visionary. He has shown a lot of old leaders in Africa. This is how he do. When he got rid of the French, the other two countries that he need, they follow suit. Then what happened? Guinea also joined this guy. They left ECOWAS. But the new Ghanaian president he saw something in the young man. He said, no, I have to be closer to this young man. They say the age of Methuselah have nothing to do with the wisdom of Solomon. He know that the young guy have a wisdom. So let me be close to him and take you from him. That will benefit Ghana. That's why he invited him. And the invitation proved the point, because he arrived at that program. The citizen of Ghana, look how they overwhelmingly accepted this guy. That's to tell you that a lot of young people in Africa now watching Burkina Faso and asking their leaders to take some lesson from this young man to start making Africa to be like that. And the way he going, so we just showing you the tomato plant that he built. So the next one that's going to come, it could be rice. It could be something else that he's doing. That the people of Burkina Faso will now start feeding themselves instead of depending on the white people, because all their mineral resources he wanted to be processed in Burkina Faso. The people must benefit, not the French. That's why he got rid of the French. So the young man is doing something good. And I think our old people will get in our own country that fight your money and self, that burning the Capitol building for some reason known to them. Look, this young man have proved to us Africa, and this, how they call it, the Jay-Z generation. Look, they're capable of doing something good. And that's why I keep saying, if it's young 35-year-old, when he took over, he was age 33. He's now 35. But in short period of time, look what he have done to his country. That the young people now, they feel so proud to be a Buchanan. You see?
You know, when you said something that in Liberia we allow, not that we are anti-foreigners, but I mean, you know, that foreigners will determine what we eat, to the point where they even import rice for us to eat. And I remember when I was growing up, you know, in the 70s and in the 80s, especially mainly in the 80s, my uncle had this friend somewhere on Fender campus, one Chinese guy who used to raise pigs and other things. Same, we used to like cabbage. Every Saturday we used to go on the guy farm to buy cabbage. You know, and because my uncle worked at the bank, and then this guy had his account at the bank, so he and my uncle were friendly, and so this is how we got to know him. When we buy cabbage, the guy will follow the whole car with the cabbage. We bring it home, we start distributing it even in the community. You see, so this has been an age-old long something way back, that we depend on other people to provide for us, to the point where, if I say the rice we eat, that we have to wait for people to export it, or import it before we eat, when we have the same soil. But all in all, I think this guy, like you said, he proved his point. In fact, he justified his inclusion at that program, that the very Ghanaians could, because when they call his name, when they say the leader of Burkina Faso are expected to hear boo or to see that people getting, even though the leaders inside there, no traditional, quote unquote people, they were giving kosher, but the boy had, I say, they kind of goosebumps that came on my skin that people could welcome this boy. Eh? This is a young boy who is trying to make his country proud. And I also want to thank the Ghanaian president, the new president, because what he did, he showed that you don't have to be in their clique to be respected. As long as you are a leader and you have vision and you think and you believe that you can do for your people, you should be respected. But because you live with the old guys, people who've been there for 20, 25 years, they will say, no, labor, you're coming in finally, man, in transition here to civilian, he stayed military. If we promote him, our people will see that the military get power, and and trust me, this will it will create a lot of military juntas in the whole West Africa soon. Because some guy will say, but we're saying that wasting time on all the old people that got no vision. We got to take over and do something.
So Linford, what we'll do on Friday, there was a 10 minutes interview that the Ghanaian president and this young man had with the press. And
Wow.
the Ghanaian president gave the reason why he invited Traore. He said, look, you can see the people now in Africa have now focusing on Burkina Faso. They're learning from Burkina Faso. The reason why they're learning from Burkina Faso is the work that the young man is putting in. And that work, he made the African leader that were invited to that program, he made them to look very stupid. That how come this young man, he just been in office for 3 years and he overshadowed them in a way. To overshadow them, that is that message he sent to them that they need to take you though. We cannot be doing the same thing over and over and then we expect different result. Yes. Africa must change. This is why West Africa is calling for. West Africa must change. We must do things differently. We cannot be having a lot of resources in a place and our people suffer. So to our viewer, this is the young man from Burkina Faso. This is their first project to mentor. That's a massive, about 3 football pitch. Imagine.
And can you imagine?
Yes.
That if people were buying tomato paste that were produced by France or any other outsiders for, let's just make a price $10 cents. It's going to be like 2 cents in, because tomato as you move this one that I read, when you pluck it off, it coming again. It just coming.
So you see, though, look at the processing plant the guy get. Yes. They're gonna do first tomato puree, tomato, all kind of things that regarding tomato that will be. Yeah. So why instead of buying it from the West, we will be going to be Burkina Faso to go buy tomato and sell it to Liberia. This guy here is packing. Look, that's a can over there. That's a can in his hand where they manufacture tomato paste or something. You see, he's so proud of. Look at the people looking at this young man.
Paul, let me. We're closing on this thing because I saw our guest in the background trying to set up. As soon as he gets on, will be coming. But we'll first do the review of the paper. But Paul, let me ask you the question here. You can choose to comment on it or not. Why is it that around West Africa, military leaders have been coming to power all the time, but nobody have been exceptional like Burkina Faso? Because let's go back to Thomas Sankara, right? Yeah. Thomas Sankara introduced something in Burkina Faso that no other leader, whether elected democratically or military leader come to power, had not done before. This is a man who removed air conditioners from his own house, from all government offices and other things. Okay, and and just working, and he's emulating, even doing better. So why Burkina Faso? They say their name because they say Burkina Faso. The word Burkina Faso means land of great men. So it said their name that that is driving them to do these great things, or what? What do you think? You are muted, Paul.
Linford, I think it have to do with what they went through under the French people. and they don't want to see their country being like that. There are young people, a lot of these Burkinabe, they also live in Paris and other places. Yeah, they come home and they know that they've been exploited by the French. So why we can't do this? So Thomas Sankara showed these people the way that it can be done. So this young 33-year-old, when he came to power, he have stated Thomas Sankara that we can do more than this. And see what he doing. This guy does not buy clothes. He wear military uniform through all the year, 365 days. He lived in the same old barrel house that he was in when he overthrew the government. This guy ride the same car that they were riding. They're not buying $100 million cars. Like our president in Liberia have to ride $100 million a bulletproof car for some reason known to him. So this young man have a vision. And I think he started Thomas Sankara. This is why now he said, look, we have to move this country into another thing that I'm big concerned about here. The Russian president had a yearly interview with international press, and something he did mention said, look, the original that they developed that long short range missile, he's going to all the countries that they have alliance with, he's going to supply those countries. So in the next 10 years, Burkina Faso could be that country in Africa that now people could be afraid of. It could be what the next Gaddafi, the way the young man go, and he stay in power. Yeah, so let's look at it from that perspective, bro. I think this is getting interesting. Yeah.
Okay. But let you highlight this comment by our co-producer Francis Mensah. He's saying that Burkina Faso is to import tomato paste from Ivory Coast. So now they will supply maybe other countries. But our guest is actually in the background.
So that question run through these two newspaper thing, and then we'll bring the guest if you don't mind.
Yeah, but probably they get
okay,
want to.
Let's bring him. He may come.
Want to come on it too. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any waste of time, we bring in Mr. Gabriel H. Williams. Before Gabriel will even say anything, I will tell you about Gabriel. The Gabriel Williams is here. Is one guy who I have known for a very long time. That was the early 80s, if I'm not mistaken, 1980 to be exact, or to 82, 83. I was in Haywood then, and Gabriel Williams was at D12 Memorial High School. And we used to have this program called High School Report, where all of the high school will compile the major things happening, and then, we'll go on Friday evening, Friday afternoon at ELBC, and then we'll do our recording. After we do the recording, then we'll go home. Then Saturday morning, we'll all glue to the radio to listen to ourselves. And at that time, man, when you're in a school, young boys, man, getting our prime team, and then you listen to yourself, you are like, oh yeah, it was me talking. Oh, your friend, my man, I heard you talking. And Gabriel, so now, I remember one time Gabriel shared with me, he said, my man, yeah, so now imagine when the program when Friday night I can walk from way Douala, then I come to Waterside, then before I take a bus to come to EFBC. Then we'll be laughing and say, hey, my man, you're the walking machine. So Gabriel H. Williams, let me say welcome to you. This is the Portland, Liberia.
Thank you so much, Info, for those memories. Just bringing us back. You and your co-host. First, let me apologize for being a little, rough on the edges. It's been a very, busy Tuesday morning here, and I'm just in the midst of things. Had it not been for your prompt, I probably would have missed the program. So normally, out of respect, for the sanctity of the program, I like to come more prepared in terms of my dress code and everything. So, my apologies for appearing, on your program the first time casually. Because
this program is casual. You see my co-host. We make it people's program,
Well, you are you are the host of your program. When I come on your program as a journalist, I must call everything. So let me just throw it out there. And respect to you guys for what you do. And so I'm all ears, to participate in the discussion going forward. And after that, I can get back to my, really, really busy schedule. But thank you for having me on.
And let's also let's also apologize that it was very impromptu to get Gabriel. I think it was just around yesterday we got in
Yes.
contact with him, and we know how all these little things, all the busy schedule to get grab somebody, it's not easy. I was on
Yeah.
here working at 5 o'clock in the morning. The time different. I just called him there. I know I just called him. I said sorry, bro. And then we talked actually, and he went back to sleep. But Paul, this is Mr. Gabriel H. Williams. Gabriel has been at the information ministry before, so we all grew up in this press business, this journalism business. We grew up inside, so this is something that we know to our the fingertips of our hands, and then so he's gonna be our first. You want to open any conversation with Gabriel? Paul, you can start, and then I'll follow.
Great. Good evening from my end, Gabriel. I guess where you are should be afternoon there. So good evening I'm in the great city of London. So good evening and welcome to the bottom line discussion.
Yes.
So to start,
It's just around
Gabriel,
midday from this end.
right. For the sake of our audience, we would like for you to introduce yourself. Who is Gabriel Williams? Gabriel L.H. Williams.
Yes. It's just actually it's Gabriel I. H. Williams. It's Isaac. Isaac is my original name, and I live with people. I like to share those those kinds part of me. The Williams name is not my biological name. In Liberia, when you live with people, you take on names, and I'm proud of the name. But they afforded me an opportunity to be where I'm at based on the roots. Being, a child born, I lost my mom, from childbirth, and I had to live with people. And that's how the name came about, and that's how I had the opportunities for education to get to this point. As Lenford was actually saying, yes, our roots go way back to our days in high school. And since that time, I have been committed to the course of journalism, starting off in my school, Detroit High School, where, I served under Philip Wisset, the late veteran journalist, legendary journalist Philip Wisset. I was a legendary now because he was committed to the core. We were both, schoolmates. He was my immediate senior in high school. He graduated before me. And when he was in the 12th grade, I was in the 11th grade. And when he graduated, I took over the press club, and that's how Linfo and the rest of us, high school special, ERBC, and that's how we got our cut. And then, I got picked up at Daily Observer. Actually, I got a scholarship to go to Ghana to study at the Ghana Institute of Journalism. You had to, have some background, at least no less than 6 months in practical experience. That's how I ended up at the Daily Observer during my fellowship, the internship to go to Ghana in preparation to attend GIJ. While at GI, at Daily Observer, those days, Ghana was, just, a rowdy political unrest, and the universities and higher institutions of learning, they were all shut down, and I couldn't go. But I had done so well at the Observer, and Mr. Best decided to keep me on, as a reporter in training. That's how I started off, and then because of my work, he said he wanted, to find somebody, in New Cruton to report from New Cruton. That's how I brought Philip Wisser on board, and Philip Wisser became new editor at the Observer, and then editor in chief at the Inquirer newspaper. And then, of course, I served, in the leadership of the press union, acting president during the war. I am one of the founding leaders of the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas, AJA. I'm one of the founding leaders. Me, along with Isaac Bantu, we took the charge to organize the organization in Washington, D.C., at the National Endowment for Democracy. And then I served during Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's administration as assistant minister and deputy minister, respectively, at the information ministry. And finally, as a diplomat at the Liberian Embassy in Washington, D.C. I have specialty in international affairs. I'm the first Liberian journalist to serve as a journalism scholar at the United Nations headquarters in New York under the Dag Hammarskjöld Memorial Fellowship. So I have all of these experiences in addition to 2 books I have published. Liberia, the Heart of Darkness, Accounts of Liberia, Civil War, and its destabilizing effects in West Africa, which is, being used for academic purposes. It was critical in the Sierra Leone War because it has a lot of documentation about what went on in Liberia. And I can share with you the late Secretary of State Colin Powell. I had the opportunity of personally, sending him a copy of the book when we met with the Assistant Secretary of State for Africa, who actually attended an Agile, our Agile event, the organization. I sent a letter to the Assistant Secretary of State. He came, and we used that opportunity to send a copy of the book to Secretary of State Powell. This is important because that book played so much on that man's mind. And he took the copy of that book and took this to President Bush when the Liberian crisis started. And they were seeing the pictures of, disemboweled babies, massacres and stuff. And it was one of those things that actually helped move the Liberian peace process. So I am grateful to God for the opportunity. The second book is Corruption is Destroying Africa, the Case of Liberia. And you take your pick when it comes to what's going on in the country now. If there's any challenge we have now in post-war Liberia, is how we continue this evil called corruption, because it's eating away everything. So I'll pause there, to hear from you.
Right. Thank you, Mr. William. We know you've been a journalist for all of years. Usually on this program, we do newspaper reviews. So we only have 2 newspapers. Being a journalist, maybe you can help us through, then we'll get into the main conversation. So we just want to put this out. And you talk about corruption. And we know lately there have been incidents at the Capitol building. Something happened in Liberia yesterday. From the Front Page Africa reported this. This young man here, he worked in the office of Fonante Kofa. He was arrested for 4 days. No one knows his whereabouts. He was in the custody of NSA. And then yesterday they brought him at the court, and after the court has granted him, the judge asked for permission that he needed medical attention. Then after he came out, there was another arrest warrant in front of him. He collapsed. And this is a situation here that we face in Liberia. And this story now becoming something that everybody is talking about. The police and the fire service said they were asked an attack on the building, and they have evidence this young man burned the building. But now the evidence is to torture him, to get things out of him. According to him, he was tortured and for 4 days. So this is the story in the Front Page Africa. Therefore, and then Mr. Willen.
Okay, you see, the story is a direct picture of what has been unfolding in Liberia in recent time. For some years now, where there seems to be no law and order. The power that be tend to be the law. They can bend the law in a way to suit their purpose, and when it is not in their favor, they will go against it in a way. When it is in their favor, they will welcome it. So here is a young man who was picked up by the police and turned over to the NSA. And all of my time in Liberia, I have not heard incidents where the police will arrest somebody instead of investigating preliminary investigations to establish some facts and then turn the person over to the court that will in turn turn the person over to another law enforcement group, which is the NSA. Because I know the NSA has their own work to do. They operate overtly and covertly. Some of the things they do, nobody knows. So for you to arrest somebody who was allegedly implicated in certain things, criminal act, and the police is the first responder when it comes to crime. So if you have apprehended a corporate for you to investigate a person. You didn't do it, but he turned the person over to another group that is operating in this group. As far as we know, the act that established the NSA states that the NSA is not responsible to answer to the president and take orders from the executive. Okay, so if you arrest a criminal, instead of you conducting your preliminary investigations and then taking the person to the court that has the final jurisdiction, you take them and send it to the NSA. So I'm a bit confused until probably the police RG or people who have some legal, minds can come and explain this to me. But I think what happened to this young man is a witch hunt, simply because Fonatikova is at the heart of this impasse at the Capitol building, and this in order to I learned from an old man that in order to cut down a big tree, you have to brush around it. You have to clean all of the small trees around it to be able to cut down the big tree. So in order to be able to get Fonatikova, probably they think that they could go to his office or people and get people from his office who will be coerced to probably confess and implicate him, and then they can get him. So that's it. That's just my own opinion, but I don't think this man was treated fairly.
So, Mr. Williams, you've been around the block for a long time in the arena, and you serve as minister. On your all the work you have done as a journalist, have you seen this sort of situation before, where the police will arrest someone? The police said they have evidence, they point the fingerprint at people, grab them, and then there's no evidence, they send it to NSA for torture. Have you seen this before?
Well, first of all, the unfolding developments that you've articulated, which is reported in the media, I haven't seen those accounts. So I am really not, privy, to speak directly to those particular reports, because, like I said, I've been extremely busy to the point that I have been distracted. Having said that, though, our history is replete with extrajudicial actions, activities on the on the part of the government of the day. I will take my pick from the 1980s, during the Dole time, even before the Dole time, parts of the 1970s, where people who advocated against the government, they were arbitrarily arrested, detained, But there are other provisions under which the government can, for example, they can arrest you, carry you to court, and then for some reason the court release you based on the evidence that they have, and you come outside and they rearrest you at the door. And obviously that should be done based on maybe additional information that they may have for interrogation. That can be done. But having said that, we should not forget that to try to hide under the law, to do something like that, can subject someone to an abuse, arbitrariness, and regarding the situation at the Capitol, I have written about it, and I have been on radio in Monrovia a few times to actually say that this is totally unnecessary. If they don't want this guy, fine. If you don't want Mr. Kofa to be the speaker, that's good. It is right within the prerogative of the members of the House of Representatives. But let's do it in a manner that is constitutional. Let's convene, a session as required by the law in the Constitution. And, let's go through the process of voting, and they can vote him out. But, for a group to set themselves apart and designate unto themselves the title of majority black and minority black, I don't understand. So, and I have, like I said, at the risk of repeating myself, I have actually, said that, this is not right. And just last week, immediately following the fire, at the Capitol building, the dealers, they were carrying an article, from me, saying that, or washing the capital war all over again. That attack was very symbolic. That attack was at the very heart of our democracy. And we should not take it lightly. My people, these things, they are symbols, they are signs, that we should be able to look at. You never know what else is going to be coming, especially when our leaders continue to stoke, confusion. At a time when we're supposed to be focused on economic development, here we are, engaged in these activities, unnecessary battles, to the point where the Capitol building has been touched, the heart of our democracy. So, I really don't understand. I will still submit that there's a need for the national legislature to do the right thing. And the right thing is for them to convene a session, under the gavel of the Mr. Kofa. Let him preside, let them go through the constitutional process. And if the group that don't want him, if they win the majority vote, at least you constitutionally remove him. But to do it the way they're doing it, and everyone else, the people in the international community, they are getting concerned. I think the government have to, course correct on this before it gets really, really bad. Because a lot of these things could affect, our governance indicators. And I know as a diplomat who worked in Washington, D.C., that a lot of the indicators for continuing assistance, are previous upon, the government being, able to adhere to certain principles, democratic principles, and if we continue to violate them, blatantly, in the end, we might run into problems down the line. I hope that would not be the case.
So, Mr. Whitten, thank you for that. And something came to my attention when you're talking about being in Washington. Liberia was they were one of those countries, I think 5 countries that are eligible to receive the $500 million, the MCC impact, with the human writing that we see on the screen now. Where something that will affect us in the long run. We're talking about developmental purposes that this government have been pushing, how they call it, arrest agenda, and those sort of image coming from Liberia. Isn't that something that will be worrying for people in Washington to see what is going on in Liberia?
The Americans, as a diplomat and as an international specialist in my own right, they are sending signals. You should have to watch these diplomatic pronouncements. And of course, I'm sure they are having private engagements with our leaders to tell them that there's a need to correct course. Look, when the people, when they speak, when their ambassadors speak and their officials speak, you have to listen carefully. And, let me go back to the compact that you talk about. And people have come back to say, look, the announcement that you have won, I don't know how many $1 million, doesn't mean that you're going to get it. There are conditions that are set. Look, and why do I say so? The compact, which is a basis, for U.S. assistance through the MCC, was, a document that was put together to identify the critical areas that Liberia, that are needed to be, for international intervention, for support for Liberia to overcome the challenges of underdevelopment for the post-war country. They call them the constraint analysis. What are the constraint analysis? For example, the lack of electricity, the lack of road network, the lack of viable sea and airports, right? These are corridors. These are institutions or infrastructure you need in place. You need good road network through the country. And who put the constraint analysis together? Mr. Mooney Captain. He led the team that put the constraint analysis together based on research. That analysis was accepted. This is from there. You saw Mr. Captain at the at LEC for several years. Also, a lot of these things are interwoven. And, you can't separate one from the other, especially when it comes to the issue of governance and the rule of law. These people, they have indicators that you must meet. You have standards that you must meet. And I can share with you, because I know not much have changed in terms of, diplomatic activities. There are a lot of discussions are already going on. They do that. They get to you and you guys have a discussion. Take, for example, during Madame's time, Madame Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Why was it that you never heard once that the Americans openly, any of their leaders openly came out to criticize her? Because issues were put on the table during meetings. Some of these meetings, I sat there and, issues of their concerns, they brought them out and we discussed. So, these are some of the things that are happening. We need to pay attention. The compact, the money is not, is not absolute. You must meet those conditions that are set for you to get the resources. I think they have begun to signal that. So I hope our leaders will begin to pay attention.
Right. Linford.
Yeah, I think we should move to the next paper so that, because there are particular topics that we want to discuss with Mr. Williams. He being a former deputy information minister, and and moving fast forward to present days and see some of the things that are happening, so we can discuss the role of the media, whether the media is benefiting the people, or the media is benefiting or serving as a challenge. So we can do that. So just flash the next newspaper and then we can run through it faster. And
yeah. So this one here is interesting though. After 6 years of George Weah presidency, we all Liberians, including myself, we beat on President Weah for flying private jet. So yesterday, Dillon had an interview on OKFM, and the paper carried out Dillon made a public apology to the ex-president for flying private jet. They all beat on Weah, and he said that now they have seen the reason why they should allow President Barker to fly private jet. The solution to this problem should be that Liberia buy a private jet for the president. But we all beat on George Weah. So Dillon, within his own wisdom, that he's apologized to President Weah and now asking the country that they cannot generate money to buy a private jet for the president. That's the story.
Yeah, but you want us to hear from Dillon himself?
Yeah, we'll do that. So we can move there. It's just a 1 minute clip. Let me add this on quickly.
My response may not go down well. As Darius Dillon, who campaigned against private jet, the use of private jet against President Weah, I want to publicly apologize to President Weah. Why? Because we did not understand the constraints and the reasons and the justification for using private jet by the president of Liberia. We condemn it. Now, both say they don't pay to apologize. Lord, let me tell you, this country, they say when you wrong, play traffic and say you're not wrong. They can respect you, they can honor you for all the year. Lord, let me tell you something. In good conscience, it's good to admit that you're wrong so that you can correct the wrong. We see the need for the use of private jet. But
I saw that when I was in Abuja when President Barker went there. I narrated that on this.
Yes, we see the need, and I said now, the use of private jet by the president of Liberia. They solve private jet issues to procure.
Okay, that's the story, guys. George Weah have been, they apologize to George Weah for flying private jet. So, Mr. William, you want to talk to us before Charlie?
For me, I think Dillon is not admitting that, sometimes people will speak or people will condemn certain things that they don't know about. Maybe they got no idea why this thing is happening, and they come out and condemn it and that reminds me of a definition that the former information minister gave, Mr. Milton Tierji, when he was information minister. When he used to be deputy to Joe Molwa during the wartime, and in that interim arrangement, he was so vocal until Taylor withdrew Joe Molwa and said, "Okay, you Milton, you can be information minister proper." And he went silent for a period of time. Nobody could hear anything. And I remember I had this press conference, and one journalist asking, "Mr. Minister, we haven't heard you for a while since you became minister proper. Does that mean that everything is okay in government?" And he said, "Well, government is a big house that belongs to everybody in the town, but not everybody can go in that house. So, the few people that go there, they're the only person that know what's happening there, whether mosquito there or everything is greasy. So that's it. Until you get into it, you will not know. So a lot of us, even including myself, we condemn certain things, and until we get to know, then we can come back and correct ourselves. So in my mind, Jerome was correcting himself that he made mistake to condemn the private jet thing. But I hope other people will learn from that. That you should first of all get to know what you're condemning instead of just flowing with the crowd. So, but we all know flying private jet in a poor country like Liberia will not all go down well with a lot of people. Whether there's a good intent in doing that, but the fact that you flying private jet and civil servants are going without pay, you flying private jet and your roads are bad, even the very airport that it fly from is bad, so people have to talk in such a place. So I don't think it was even wrong that the citizens will express their concern that their president will be flying private jet when they got nothing, when their hospitals are in very bad shape and everything is not functioning. So but that's it. The optics is what people complain about. Not that flying the private jet is something very evil. No, but the optics, I think that's what people were complaining about. But I'm happy that DeLong got to know later on, and he came back to correct himself.
Okay, so that's it. Mr. William, you want to add something, and then we'll get into our conversation?
Well, let's just move on. I think there's nothing else that I can say better than what you guys already said. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. William, I want to start a conversation like this. You've been in this media thing for long, and you even ascended to the position of deputy assistant and then deputy minister of information. When you deputy minister of information, you are very close to the ministerial post. And so I want to ask you, the media in Liberia, is it an asset or liability to our democratic process? I mean, be it from back then and coming fast forward to now. Do you think the media is an asset or is it a liability to the whole process?
What a question, preaching to the choir on that one. Let me just be the choir that will raise our chorus. That the media is 100% an asset. There is no way, my dear friend and colleague, that you can have a functioning democratic governance system in a place like Liberia if you don't have a strong and vibrant media. And I say so as somebody who's been on the other side as an independent journalist. The founding editor, I'm not sure if I told you guys that, I'm the founding editor of the Inquirer, the Independent Inquirer, and then Philip Wissett took over from me when I fled to the States in the wake of death threats. And then I went back to Liberia and served at the Information Ministry, trying to restructure the ministry and make it more functional in the democratic system. And I give you an example. The weekly press briefings, which is now a standard at the Ministry of Information, that we introduced it. They used to have press briefing, but it was not weekly. It was not standardized. It was under my leadership that something like that was done. And as a way of not waiting until there are developments, then we are scrambling to provide information to our people. So yes, the problem in the country is not the media. The media is a reflection of the society, the totality of the society. The media is not mutually exclusive. So everything that is happening, from the bribery to the inefficiency to everything else, that is affecting the media, it's a reflection that the media is just part of the society. And they have done well under the circumstances, and they are journalists who want to do well, who want to do better, but the constraints of society, imagine working and you're not being paid. There are people who come to work, on a daily basis, and they don't know where they're going to get money from to send their children to school. And so if you go somewhere and somebody has a story, and there you go. So these are the things. So it comes to a bread and butter issue. I'm not excusing corruption. I'm just saying that everything else happening in the country, the media is not mutually exclusive. It is just part and parcel of the society. Nevertheless, they've been doing very well to hold our public leaders accountable, as reflected by the continued resilience of the independent media in the country.
Okay. Before my colleague come in, let me hear from you your view on this one, where that conventional style of journalism is giving way to this what we will call social media style of journalism, where every Tom, Dick, and Harry will become a journalist as long as they have a functional cell phone. During your day and during my day, when we were coming up, it was even almost impossible to just walk into the newsroom. You would be lucky to to peep through the window, and those of us who went through the electronic media, you will be lucky to even touch a microphone. Okay, if you're lucky. I think our experience when we used to go to ELBC, when we sitting down, when your turn comes to just to even go sit down, you trembling. Okay, because the profession was well respected, and people that you could even see there, you felt that, no, I'm not at the level of these people yet. I can't be like them. You see, but now everybody's kind of a journalist right now. So do you think that has posed a challenge to the credibility of the media, where anybody can report from anywhere, and the most dangerous thing is to have the cell phone where you can go live, directly live. Nobody's editing you. You just go, you say what you want to say and stuff like that. Do you think that is posing challenge to the credibility of the media?
It is posing some challenge, but I don't think necessarily to the credibility of the media. Journalists are trained. All we have to do is to be creative. Because you are trained. This group that you just referred to with a cell phone and everything is on Facebook, everything is on social media, they call them citizens journalists. There is nothing you can do about it. It's going to grow. That trend is going to grow, it's going to magnify. What we have to do as journalists, how do you remain relevant in this new age? If you cannot remain relevant by being creative, then you're going to die. Imagine the many news organs, news entities, both radio and print, that have gone underwater, etc., in Liberia. Not because they were not professional, but because of creativity and lack of the necessary resources and leaders who would think beyond. I'll give you an example. When we started the Inquirer newspaper, imagine during the early years of the war. And for me, I like to be practical, so I like to tell my story through practical life so that I'm not just speaking elusively. When we started the paper, in 1991, immediately after ECOMO hit the ground, and peace, some semblance of normalcy, we didn't have a place. They abandoned Youth and Sports Ministry on, I think it's on Newport Street, the Youth and Sports Ministry. That building was battered and everything. We went and cleared a space, in our public building. And that way, when people brought their typewriters, some people brought ream of papers. That's how we started a newspaper. We worked from there for a few weeks, and we decided that we needed to find office space. And we found a place there. That first place we moved on Gurley Street, on Gurley Street. Dr. Sumpon, I think you remember Dr. Theophilus Sumpon. Yes, who was at the university. Dr. Sumpon owned a building on Gurley Street. So we talked to him. He gave us the downstairs floor. That's where the Inquirer was for so many years. The first building we went to, the people burned it down during the war to destroy the paper. But in every case, the first thing we did was, in the wake of the war and everything else, we wanted to set up a team, and we started our own training programs. Whatever it was, the resources we had, we shared it evenly. And I'm telling you, I was whatever remuneration, whatever pay, or anything that we got, as staff, as employees of the Inquirer, I was the last to take my pay, to take my weekly pay down. The first thing we did was make sure you give the journalists fund money every week from the sales to give the journalists their pay down to go on the field. And the journalists were required to come and report. The editors were required to hold their reporters accountable. Everyone was supposed to report because we're not going to give you pay down and then you don't do anything. At the end of the month, whatever money, pay that was for everybody, we paid it. So that we pay in stages. And I was the last as a leader. So at the end of the day, there was no excuse for anybody to go out there and take money from anybody, for anyone, for story. If that report came, you are gone. This is how the Inquirer's credibility was built. And this is how someone like me that came through the Observer, foundation under Mr. Best. That was it. That was it. Whatever you were supposed to get, you got it as timely as possible. And if you were found in anything otherwise, you are gone. So in that way, you maintain some level of integrity among the staff. You maintain some level of cohesion. When the people, their little benefit that they look up to, when the weekend, on Mondays, with the guys, all the people coming to work in the morning on Monday to start at work, and they're a little bit down there, it's rough. The week you deplete it, you put a little transportation in your pocket, they're going to get started during the week. When the month ends, whatever they owe, they're supposed to be paid, that expectation is there for them to get it. When you do that, you minimize all these corrupt activities and you show productivity. I learned it from under Mr. Best, Mr. Peabody, Mr. Dapo, all of these legends, and that's the same thing I applied. I was in my 20s when we started the Inquirer, in my late 20s, and people didn't give us a fighting chance, guys. They say, oh, these young guys, Gabriel Williams, they're young, but, we don't think he has the experience. I didn't go screaming, beating on people. All I did was, my ability, my action to prove. And we brought in people like Mr. Peabody, our former boss, and he was my editorial consultant. All the best editorials, the people saw in the Inquirer, or the stories are properly edited, and I gave up when they took the credit. Mr. Peabody, they were there. My bosses, I paid homage to them, and they were doing the work. All the email, whole Inquirer boss, that was it. So if you know how to play, by the rules, and do what needs to be done, especially caring for the people that you have responsibility over, trust me, you are protected. And whatever you want out of them, productively, they will do it. Because everybody has a shared responsibility. They have a stake.
Wow, that's interesting. I've got a question that has been bothering me in regards to Ministry of Information and ELBS. What's the difference between those two entities?
The Ministry of Information is actually the official information dissemination structure of the government that will coordinate government information between, all the various ministries and agencies. They're supposed to assign public public relations officer. I think you guys remember before the war, something like that. So not all of the agencies, but many of the agencies have public relations officer. The public relations officers were supposed to report to the Ministry of Information, with respect to what's happening in their various places. And during our time, we try to revive that and try to, provide training. And the ministry is there to articulate the policies of the government to the wider society in the world. The LBS is that broadcast arm that is there to disseminate. You see the VOA, for example, in a sense, it's an unofficial U.S. government entity. The government fund them, but they act, it's structured in such a way that the government does not have direct control over them. But they take most of their funding from the United States government, the Voice of America. BBC, I understand, also got a chunk of their funding, from their government. So you are governed by certain guidelines, and you meet those guidelines. So LBS is along that line, and I don't have anything wrong. I don't see anything wrong, rather, with LBS operating. All we need to do is to make it more functional, to make it more like National Public Radio or PBS, that kind of fashion. Where the reports and programs are more in that educational context, that informative context. You leave the politics, to the various other entities, and you just focus on what's happening in society. What's happening in Bone County. We went on this farm, and the farmer, they're doing their eggs. For me, those are the Ministry of Information. That was it. And so we came out with programs at the Ministry of Information, policies and programs. We have, for example, Miss Elizabeth Hoff, the first female vice president, the first female president, rather, of the press unit of Liberia, Elizabeth Hoff. Liz and I, we started off journalism in back in the days when she was, reporter in training at a New Liberian newspaper. And I was, reporter in training at the Daily Observer. And we all met at the Ministry of Information. She was the deputy for technical affairs. So her focus was actually planning programs. We would meet, and she would plan programs, and it was learn those programs that will execute government information dissemination. And let me just give you another example, because I like to be practical. Remember the poverty reduction strategy, PRS? Mm-hmm. When the poverty reduction strategy was launched as a national development program, I represented the Ministry of Information at a cabinet meeting, because the minister was out of the country. When the finance minister, introduced the draft of the program to the cabinet, the president and the cabinet. So the president went around the table, and I just sharing this as a background to you guys. The president went around the table, to get various opinions, being a junior cabinet meeting and, minister, being, you gave the people the chance, let them talk that they think. So, when everybody talk, and one thing, madam, she always respected my opinion. Because I always had journalists who would tell you like it is. She said, Minister Williams, or do you have anything to, I've heard, the other ministers, but we didn't hear from you yet. And do you have any input as to the ordained Minister Syed, Antoinette Syed, she introduced a draft of the poverty reduction strategy, the national development plan. So I told the president that, it was a very good program. I said, but Your Excellency, there is something that I think is missing. I said, there is not a public awareness component. This is supposed to be a national development program intended for the people. But if we do not have a component as to how we're going to inform the public about this national development plan, which is theirs, and to get their participation, then, then it's just a government plan. So when I said it, the minister, responded, and she kind of, didn't think it was much of a big deal and stuff. When she got to talking, the president came back. The president said, Minister Williams just made a very important point. He just made a very important point because the press, even though it is not how it is always done, but we have to think outside the box. So, can we find a way that we can put a component that will enable us to be able to get a message out to the public? Then she said, Minister Williams, do you have any idea? You know, she will always come back. Don't bring any, recommendations to Madam, and you don't have any idea when she asks you how you ask, because she will always come back. So that she knows, but you know, how you think it should be done. Because it's your idea. Minister Williams, how you think? And guys, and I laid it out. That look, we can get the press union involved and the independent press through the, how to call it, the National Publishers Association. We can bring those people to the table, the Ministry of Information. Show them the document that we have and see how we can, we all can work together to make this thing here, people-centered, public participation, to make it participatory. I think we can do that. And I lay out some ideas. The madam said, that's great. Let's go ahead. And that laid the groundwork for the involvement. After that cabinet meeting, we reached out to the press union people and the Publishers Association leadership, and we convened meetings with them with respect to how we wanted them to be involved, how we could get them involved, inclusive in the process. By extension, you will know that you will recall that, the PRS program, you remember they gave you a name called Live Liberia?
Yeah.
You guys remember Live Liberia? Live Liberia was a name that evolved from this process. After we put a communication program together, then we had to take it to the people and make the people ownership. You got to give them that sense of belonging. So Dr. Raptel Paley, she was, an aide in the president's office dealing with communication matters. So, the program that we put together will pass to her, so that we and the president communication people can work together, how we can create a public ownership. So an announcement was put out to say, look, the PRS program, the government is about to launch it, but we want public ownership. Let people suggest names to us. And anybody who suggests names, and we have prices for people who suggest names, for the PRS. And different names came in. This is how the name Live Liberia came up. So yes, Live Liberia. And so when people talk about the PRS, the ordinary man in the village, they say, oh, Live Liberia, yes. That program to live us, yes. So that I was. So yes, it's just an example, making the whole thing. And so that's a role that the Ministry of Information had. Of course, there's an argument by others that a Ministry of Information is not necessary. And I'm not going to say that's not correct. All I'm going to say is, if you want to go down that route, make sure you leave a structure in place that will ensure that the government will continue to effectively communicate with its people. If you don't do it, it's a recipe for disaster. You must leave something in place based on my experience.
Okay, time is far catching up
Let-
with us.
let me follow up. The reason why
Okay,
I asked that question with the LBS, and we live for this talk about the challenge regarding the cell phone that people use in this day, including guys like me who don't have journalism background at all. I can sit there on a platform and pretend to be a journalist. LBS, ELBS. When we were growing up, we watched black and white television. We follow people, Steve McConnell, all of these great names. It's a challenge that ELBS today, we cannot have that ELBS that we had before. It's a great challenge. Is that where the government need to put more money in because of information dissemination? What happened to our ELBS? Today, is the social media now have taken over. We now Spoon Network is playing that ELBS role in Liberia. So there's a challenge for ELBS at this time. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, the most important challenge I see with the government information dissemination is lack of adequate resources puny budget, the Ministry of Information and LBS. Our leaders have not come to prioritize, these entities. I said, if you want to restructure, Ministry of Information, you can turn it into some government information dissemination processing agency, right? But don't leave a void. If LBS provided necessary resources. The underperformance that you see, the mediocrity that you see, is not the fault of these people. What's going to attract quality people if you don't have the resources? If the budget is puny, if you don't have leaders with a vision, to be able to do greater things. If you have petty minds who they put there because of their political leanings, you have these things. They have impact on the overall performance of the agency. I think LBS, there's a lot of opportunities for growth. But if you have leaders who are limited in their thoughts, my brother, and you who there, and I can tell you from experience, sometimes you who come and you want to bring reforms, they will fight the hell out of you. If you're not careful, they will destroy you. Yes.
Okay. Linford?
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Williams.
Yes.
It's one thing we journalists have always fought for all around the world, not only in Liberia, all around the world. That is press freedom. And in fact, there's a declaration that gave a particular day for the press as the press World Press Day or Press Freedom Day. And I think that was a battle, that was a long time battle that was won before that day was set aside. But a lot of people believe that press freedom is abused in certain countries, Liberia being an example. People say that because of press freedom, you can say anything, you can do anything, and you can cause trouble, you can abuse people. Just do about anything that you want to do, hiding under the canopy of press freedom. But the question here is, in Liberia, does our press freedom actually strengthen our democracy, or is it helping to destroy it? What do you think about that? Are we journalists abusing it? And this question goes into tie with what I mentioned earlier on and what you refer to as the citizens journalism. Okay, where anybody can take phone and say anything they want to say, and then you, the trained journalist, why you trying to fix it? Somebody had already spoiled it already, and then everybody can. So that the press people say it. And what I know about Liberia is, and I used to share this thing. People think that we journalists we know everything. So even if I stand on Broad Street and say, the sky coming down, and one Japano stand on on Kerry Street and say the sky coming down, and say, oh, leader man, fully man, but who say the sky coming down? I live for that journalist, that true. So the people tend to believe journalists not only in Liberia but all over the world. So is the press freedom in Liberia helping to destroy, or is it helping to actually build the democracy? What's happening?
Therefore, the example you just gave me, I just wanted to go to sleep. I'm not sure if I need to say anything more. The power, the impact of journalists, the influence. Just imagine, my brother, in Liberia, the entertainment centers or restaurant, anywhere you are well-known journalist, when you bounce, everybody all head turning. Oh, that guy in there. You see that? And the same thing. If you say anything, people about this is why they say press freedom comes with responsibility. Because if it is not used properly, the damage can be incalculable. This is why it comes to responsibility, and we who wield that influence must be careful. But I don't think, in every society, though, you will have lawbreakers and you will have lawmakers, those who will adhere. At the end of the day, I don't see any abuse that outweighs the progress. The president has made significant gains. The main challenge is lack of resources, lack of training opportunities. The great scientist Archimedes once said, "Give me a place to stand, and I will move the world." Yes. So, give these people opportunity, and the more you provide opportunity, training opportunities. Look, since the war, when I got to Monrovia, the media landscape was so bad off. Yes. And and one thing I said is, after the end of the Civil War, I was in exile in the United States. During that time, we formed Agile, like I told you. And after the end of the war, I went back home. My first job that I had was I served as as program officer for international observation for the National Democratic Institute for International Affairs based in Washington, D.C. NDR and Carter Center mounted the Joint International Observation Mission to observe the 2005 election that brought Marancelli to office. I was a program officer for international observation, at the office in Monrovia. During that time, the media and also in charge of public affairs and stuff. And so I had direct contact with the media. That was a very, very bad. The war was just ending. The landscape was terrible. Many of the journalists who were around didn't have opportunities. But over time with education, things have improved. Look at the outlook. Just look at the physical outlook of the various newspapers. Their design. Look at them online. Look at them. I don't want to call one paper or the other. But just look at their content quality. It's a gradual improvement. And I believe that the more investment we put into this, the more we provide education for the young journalists that are coming up, training at home and abroad, the better it's going to be. I think the Liberian landscape, the opportunities, the possibilities are boundless. I am telling you. And nothing is going to stop it. No government will be able to curtail press freedom in Liberia. If you try, you will go down. I know that for sure.
And a quick follow up, and then maybe Paul can come in because time is catching up. But there is one thing about journalists in Liberia. I don't know much about other journalists where I live in Norway. Everybody is able to survive some kind of way. So journalists are not dependent. But in Liberia, politicians do tend to influence most journalists. And they do it in a very smart way that if you are their friend, you are the friend of a particular minister, this minister will tend to, not put it in Liberian way, right? He will tend to hold you good. Then the one that can't hold you good, or the one that you're not friendly with, they will always try to, resent you. I remember because throughout the war, I practiced in Greater Liberia. And so when we moved to Monrovia, it was tough. They will always refer to us as a chancellor journalist. And certain functions, some people allow us to go there. They felt that we were different people. I mean, we were chancellor and all these kind of things. So we had our friends in certain areas, okay, that we could easily thread, and other people too could not go. So, but the fact that most people will resent certain journalists, they'll say, no, we don't want you to come to our function. And so, holy journalists could put it in Liberian way. Do you think it influences how the journalists perform, especially looking at just what you mentioned, that the poor performance of most media institutions and even media practitioners is due to the lack of funding, the lack of logistics and other things? Okay, do you think that can influence the activities of the journalists?
Obviously, if the person, for example, is underpaid or they barely receiving their pay, look, let's be real. You come from home, rough, you barely have anything to eat for afternoon, and you go to some press conference, some event, and they say, my man, you have a little $10 here to pay you away. Are you going to say, oh, my man, I'm a journalist, I'm going to walk from here to wherever? I don't want your money. So yes, but the guys are being paid. I come back. If these people are being paid, whatever little it is, on time, it helps to minimize. The two institutions I have associated with, the Daily Observer and the Inquirer, we minimize that problem by making sure our employees are paid and their per diems and other benefits they get it. When they're sick, they and their families can go to hospital. Right now at the Inquirer, I share with you also that I am the chairman of the board of shareholders of the Inquirer newspaper. One of the things that we did was that we have a health policy for the employees. People used to abuse it, right? Every day, Peter Paul will come. My mom said, oh, no, my wife said, my dinner that they get the money to go. So what we did, we made arrangement with the and some of the members were really pissed. Said, let's discontinue it. The people trying to exploit it. I said, no, we can't do that. We cannot allow one bad situation to cut off something that is useful for these people. What we'll do is, when anybody gets sick, your mom, your wife gets sick, you get sick, or your children get sick, those who are on the insurance, you will come, bring the person, they will get a slip, and they go to the hospital. Just like that. And the hospital will treat them, and they send us the paper. So that minimizes that situation. I'm telling you, real things that we've been dealing in the past couple of years. It cut down every Peter, Paul, and Mary getting sick, and they say they're going to a hospital. But that insurance continues for people who are really sick, where they can go and get care at a private clinic in Monrovia. And many years Mr. Wisa was sick. Before Mr. President Weah came in later to provide some resources for him to go to Ghana. It was our entity that foot the bills for that man's sickness over the years until it got to that point when President Weah finally intervened. So yes, when you put these things in place, why is it that you don't find people, for example, associate with the Inquirer people or the Observer people, to say, and these are institutions that I work for, so I can relate to them, right? That they are involved in this and that. You don't find much of that. It's because of the culture. If you try, you're gone. I'm the chairman of the board. I don't interfere in management affairs. But if I get here, the end employee down there, JSYZ, and they came to my attention, I will contact the managing editor. But the managing editor, what's going on down there? We got to be innovative. Then you see the managing editor in Monrovia, and that woman, a young lady, she was a reporter. She was not an editor. I think she only used an assistant editor to that level. But because of her potential and Felix Wisa was sick, we decided to pick her from the group and elevate her, winning. The year that the Inquirer continues in the newsstand and doing well. So you must be able to spark people. You must be able to build the institution from within. You must be able to support your people. When I was at the Observer, if I were not supported, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So building institution by supporting the people who work with you, and your staff is essential. It's for your own sustainability and for the overall growth, continued growth of the institution. If you don't do it, it's going to crumble. That's what keeps the institution and Inquirer stay operational.
Quickly, Gabriel, most time when governments come to power, they tend to hate certain media institutions. They say, oh, the people they against us, they let us report against us and stuff like that. It's almost similar to the question I asked. And we in the media, there's one thing we believe, that we can build you and we can also break you down. The same way we can build ourselves, we can also break ourselves down. Because if you do a good job as a journalist, you build yourself. And if you're very bad and you're not doing well and you lying and stuff like that, you can also break yourself down. But we are in the business of building others up, leaders especially, and government for that matter. But most governments, when they come to power, especially in Liberia, they feel that there are certain media institutions that are not dancing to the tune of their music, and so they are against them. And that tend to raise or create friction most time between some media outlet and government. What do you think we can do to create that amicable working relationship between or amongst media institutions and government?
That involves having people at the Ministry of Information or the Mansion, or LBS, who understands that the media is a partner
Mhm.
in national development. There will be just moments of disagreement, but it is, counterproductive to try to silence certain newspapers or, chastise them, because they're not partners. And I give you an example, and I keep coming back to myself, and the records are there. You remember in the wake of the Willie Nichols scandal, sex
Mhm.
scandal?
Yep.
Yes. Uh, 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 and then uh, the independent newspaper, the closure under Madame Selif, the closure of the independent newspaper, because the Samuel James newspaper published, the pictures of some sexual, pornographic pictures, and the minister went and shut down the newspaper over our strenuous objection. I'm telling you, I being a media professional in the government, I'm telling you, that, Mr. Minister, your knowledge and understanding about the media is not as deep as mine. This is counterproductive. Let's not do it. He went and the minister went and convinced the president that in light of this violation by the newspaper, the government could go ahead and arbitrarily shut them down. Based on the counsel he gave the president, she agreed. He came and shut down the newspaper. You know what I did? I sought an audience with the president, and these are public records. It's published in my book, and I've always spoken about it. I sought an audience with the president after the shutdown. Same Danish independent newspaper. Amara Conan was then the deputy minister for public affairs at the mansion, who is now the senator. And Sarah Badio, our colleague, senior colleague, Sarah Badio was the press secretary. I reached out to them. They had reservation about the whole action. So and I asked them to make an appointment with Madame. And I went. They both were in the meeting. And I told the president that the decision was not right. And there was one thing that I told the president that convinced her. I said, Madam President, when Samuel Doe or Charles Taylor were arbitrarily shutting down newspaper, I said, we as leaders of the press, we condemn them resolutely. And we're up in arms against them. I said, you, being one of the leading, advocate and political activists, you led a charge. I said, if we are now in power, you are now the president, and we are doing the same thing arbitrarily. How different are we? And my argument was that we should have taken the newspaper to court.
Simple.
Let them suffer the consequences from the court, but not us abrogating onto ourselves the laws and acting like the judge and the jury, to prescribe them. And the president, right away, she said, oh, I didn't look at it from that way. And this is how we change everything around. And I called a press conference based on the president's decision, recommendation, instruction, to say that the government made a mistake. And I'm telling you, and I told the president that this thing has serious international implications beyond Liberia. U.S. funding for Liberia is contingent. Most of their support upon the rule of law, democratic governance, press freedom is critical. And I advise the president that given my understanding of this thing, there's a problem. And so, we need guidance as to how to approach it, because all the international organizations, were calling, Gabriel Willis at the Ministry of Information over the years, we were, International Federation of Journalists, Committee to Protect Journalists, IFJ, all CPJ, all the international, they knew I was in Liberia. So everybody was calling. I went to the president, and she helped me put together a statement. Where would you ever be able to share it? I'm telling you, the next day, the American ambassador and the director of public affairs, they came calling, to seek clarification on the government in light of the arbitrary closure. Ms. Huff and I, based on my meeting with the president, were able to talk to the American people and tell them, say, look, yes, it was a mistake, but we are correcting it, and XYZ. This is how that matter was put to rest. You didn't hear anything about it. So yes, you need people with the understanding of those things, just to cut it short.
So, Minister Williams,
Yes.
we have a link for have a recording on the current director of LBS and is going after another media institution. And we know the power of the mark. When people talk, people they come up buy into it. I want for Linford to play that tape. It's just a very short tape. And I just want I want your view on this because it's something that he accusing another media institution of. Listen to it. It's kind of scary, and I just want your thought. And while Linford is trying to play that tape, your organization in the U.S., do you guys help to train some of our media practitioner in Liberia institution?
I mean, you mean Alia?
Yeah.
Well, remember, I think recently, if you guys been following the news, Aja, I think it was last year. Yeah, sometime this year, they had, induction of new officers. Joey Kennedy, and I think he's the new president. Yeah, Aja got new leadership. Moses Stanley was, and they had a convention this year, and they have a new leadership. And I think they have partnership with the press union in terms of training programs and stuff. I am not directly involved in any leadership stuff right now. Like I said, I'm serving as chair of the board of shareholders of the Inquirer, just providing oversight to the management and the leaders of ALJA as a needed rascal, the consultants we do that. And we've also been involved with the forum of former leaders of the press union, where when the press union was going through the crisis that they had, whatever intervention we could make behind the scene, those are the things we're doing. But I think ALJA, yeah, they have programs. You may want to feature them to find out exactly how they're working to support training and other capacity building in Liberia.
Okay. The clip is cute, but this video tape was produced by Eugene Fango, the Director General of the Liberia Broadcasting System, and he was reacting to, I think, something that he got something going with Stanton, and they both have been partners before on Stanton's platform, but they are going at each other's truth. But the reason why we are playing this, I think Paul tried to hint it, is that the same thing we're talking about, the power of the media, where when the press people say something, people take it to be serious. So I think that's the reason why we're playing this, but we're not like going into their stuff that they got personal stuff going. Not that we're going into it, but we just want to compare note and hear things are coming from somebody who is in high power position, like Director General of Liberia Broadcasting System. It's a very short clip, so we roll it. Let me see.
And Stephen thinks that his criminal activities can extend to LBS. He's wasting his time. He's wasting his time. Stanton does not have a following like me. Okay? Things that are happening here never happened before. And if Stanton wants us to go quarter, we can go quarter. But I'm not going to play with Stanton. There are other officials of government that run to his network. I kept that network up. My history is there. When he was abandoned and left for finish, when his own people left here and established, my records are there. I ignored Stanton a whole 9 yards for a reason best known to myself. The others don't know, but I know, and he knows. What is happening at LBS has never happened before. And what is here at LBS will be, because they were not here when I got here 9 months ago. His attempt to overthrow this government using popular uprising has failed. We are in the second year. Bring down the government. He's doing everything to bring down the government. And he he's managed to infiltrate LBS. The decision will be made here shortly. Everything around here, I pay cash for it. Everything I do around here, I don't owe anybody jack.
Okay, Linford, you can pause that. The reason,
I think Paul would like to probably explain a part of the video that he thinks is important.
You see, the reason why I said I want the minister to listen today, he made an allegation that this guy he using his platform to overthrow the government. And I don't know what the president think on this, because if they both going to go gutter, you have a president of Liberia. If this going to happen, because they are two, LBS is massive, and this 10-ton Witherspoon now, its platform almost, I don't know, as bigger than LBS at the moment. So if these two people going as local head, what would the president of Liberia, or in your own mind, what will you be saying? What advice will you be giving these people? Because the allegation is big. He using his platform to overthrow a government. That is a big allegation. So I don't know. That's why I'm just wanting to listen to his recording.
Yes, I mean, I never heard, a lot of the stuff them. I don't have, I won't pay attention to a lot of such unserious stuff, the little personal petty things. But again, look, government job, people don't understand. Somebody told me it's like a raincoat. When you wear, you put it on, somebody else will wear it.
when it's raining, you wear it. When it's sunshine, you take it off.
Yeah. Some of us, we can go around, face. I work in the independent press. I work for the government, and I still get faced with my fellow colleagues. Nobody is showing me, oh man, you this and that, because I went there and I knew what I wanted. I did not use the government job, against the common interest. These accusations, I don't know what's going on between the two guys. I don't know them. I really don't know them. But what is going on between them, I think these kinds of language, they're very inflammatory and totally, in our country. They are inflammatory and totally unnecessary. I'm sorry, there was a call coming in. So I don't know what's happening. I know the government pays attention, but and especially the press union. I hope they're listening. I hope they pay attention to these things. Because it affects the welfare of our country and press freedom and everything else. To have a government official, making the comments this guy is making. I don't know when was this. When was this? When was this? This recording made, guys?
This recording was sent to me yesterday, so I guess it was yesterday with somebody holding and decided to follow it.
Because I hope maybe it's possible that the leaders, press union leaders or other people concerned have not heard it, but definitely it is something I will call on them to look into it very seriously, to the extent that a government or person accusing a media or leader of attempting to overthrow the government by using their platform, that's a potentially treasonable act, and something that can completely disrupt the country. But again, leadership, guys, when you are in responsibility, when you are holding position of responsibility, how you conduct yourself in the public, how you speak, how you conduct yourself, and how you speak. Because these moments are fleeting. It will not always be. Before you look, you could be there today, you're not going to be there tomorrow. There are a lot of people want to leave each job, they ain't got no face. They ain't got no face. You got to tell them anything when they see people, they bend their head down. This is some of it. And I think it's totally unnecessary. I would rather focus on the job than not individuals. When I was in government, I got attacked many times. many times. You know, they even told me, for example, guys, y'all need to hear this. When I came to Washington, D.C., right after that, Ambassador Barnes got fired. People leaked story in the newspaper, front page Africa, the headline banner, that the president sent me to Washington to spy on Barnes. And Barnes was trying to, engage in political activity, so they fired him. I went right back, to the newspaper and did the appropriate thing, provided clarification. Barnes himself went, say it is not Gabriel Williams. Never. Because he knew me. The few months he and myself worked together, yes. Up to now, Barnes called me one of his favorite officials at the ministry. When I call him now, you call him now, you hear the comments he will make about me. Barnes said it can never be Gabriel. Why? There were people who were doing that. So he had bought it, that's why it was going to be. He was going to disregard all the good relationship we had. But based on that, he's one of my pops in Monrovia. Very pleasant relationship. So those things are happening. But how do you conduct yourself as a public figure? You got to guide your utterances. You got to be careful how you conduct yourself publicly, because you are a public servant until you leave the job. So I would just say, the guy at LBS, he has to be careful with his public utterances, considering the fact that he is, a director general of LBS. If you're a private citizen, obviously you can say whatever you want, and it's left with the person to take you to court or whatever. But you can't be in a government position and just say certain things. No, I don't think it's appropriate.
And I really agree with you, Gabriel. like I mentioned before, the media can break people up. It can build you up. It can break you down easily. And just to give you a story of myself a little bit. When we work in Greater Liberia, people always talk differently about us. And I entered Greater Liberia from day one because I was captured at LBS when the guys entered. So I felt behind rebel land, so to speak, from day one. And we went through thick and thorns, and we did what we could. When we established a FM station in Habel, there were a few guys that worked there, and a lot of people were very focused. And like what Gabriel just said, people get carried away by the position. I used to do my job. My own background in journalism is developmental communication because I work at LRCN 2 years before the team. So I always think about the development part of life. And we have all the political programs on the radio where people were blast, they cause people and things. Well, I did my work. I was the last person that worked on the radio in Habel when Habel fell. And guess who was listening to me all the time? My friend in Monrovia. Somebody that I know knew. The late General Hezekiah Bowen.
Wow.
Until when we moved to Monrovia during the election time, after election, everything he was minister of I call it rural development. So they had this press conference. I mean, Taylor had a meeting at the executive mansion cabinet meeting, and then after everything, we were just packing our equipment. And then I was just walking across the floor, man. Somebody said, Linford, and there's a second boy said, oh, wait, is that a Linford boy? Say, you're calling. So he said, bodyguard to call me. And those days when the minister call you, then you know, Ali, you in Buhen, right? So I went stand up by him. He said, my son, sit down. He said, you know me? I said, yeah, you General Hezekiah Bowen, right? He said, yeah. He said, good. He said, have you seen me before? I said, no. He said, you. I will tell you something about yourself that you don't know. He said, when you people were working in Greater Liberia, you were the only person I used to listen to. In fact, you were the last person that worked on the radio for complete 3 days before it went off. I said, yes, sir. He said, I always thought you were one tall, big, huge guy, but your style of presentation, your program that you had, your daily teacher you had was a good program. It was educational. You were not promoting war. In fact, I used to hear you. Imagine, I left from Greater Liberia, I came to Kakata to Ulemo J base, and I made peace with them. We talked. They all called on their funeral warrior fashions. And so the man narrated everything to me. He said, you stand up among all the people for me. He told the colleague, I said, you gave me my call car. I said, anytime they may come to the ministry, let him get walk straight in. And at that time, he was carrying out some pump, hand pump projects in Lufa. Then he asked me, where you come from? Which country? He said, from Nima. I said, no, I'm from Bon Country. It's okay. by the time I finish that place, I'll be coming to it. That was late 99, and it was just not or traveling. So you see, what if I have said some things, and this is somebody. Imagine General Hezekiah Bond. This is a man who controls the AFL at a certain point. So a lot of things can happen. Like Gabriel said, the government job, especially government job, if you are in a position where you have to do the interpretation of government policy. You just talk, because this that raincoat, when raining, that when you can wear it, when the rain stop, you take it off. So a lot of people need to be careful and know how to conduct themselves. But again, it all boils down to the citizen journalists who that can do any other thing. But Paul, I think our time is fast spent, and I would just think it's exactly 11 o'clock from my side, and Gabriel needs to do some other things in case today. So I think Gabriel, if you have from my side, I think that's it for now. If you have any parting word, you can let it go, and then Paul, if you got any parting word for Gabriel, and then he can wrap up, and then we can take leave of him.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to Minister William for being here. The next time we call upon you, I hope you have the time so we can dive into Liberia politics, because the way the country is going, we want people to be educated on things that they're not aware of. So it was great having you here. It shouldn't be your last time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my long-time buddy, Linford and Paul. Thanks for having me on your program. When God, contacted me, I had not, heard of your program. So, immediately, it's like a little, brother to me. So, I immediately accepted, knowing that, when it comes to media issues, there's something that we always want to be involved in. As we speak, I'm still asking, right now, one of the reasons why I'm busy is, Prince Johnson funeral. Yeah, I'm going to share it with you guys. You will see if in the next few days. Who's that? Is that guy who just showed up? I am actually working on an article, tribute to Prince Johnson. And then I have other things doing. I have series of meetings, engagements, and so right after that, I'll be going back to it. I don't know if you guys saw the tribute that I did to President Carter. In fact, I had a VOA. You saw the VOA report based on that article that I wrote. VOA interviewed me, and there were two from Africa. They interviewed President. The president, this president from Nigeria, former president from Nigeria, go on. President Gowon. Yes, and I was also honored to be interviewed. Those are the two people they interviewed to give tribute to President Carter, that were basically based on my work, with him in the leadership of the president. And of course, that time I told you guys where I served as program officer for international observation in Liberia, where we were involved in field and international observers. So thank you so much. And, Tuesdays and Thursdays are good days for me. And, whenever the need arises, just inform me in advance so that, my schedule can fit in. Today, when God told me, I didn't realize I had other things. And then today, I just been choked. But I didn't want to come back last minute to say I wasn't doing it. Since I already committed myself, because you wouldn't have a guest for your program. So thank you for affording me the time.
Thank you so much. And God, maybe you just want to speak to Minister Williams.
Okay. Forgive me for coming late. I have work to do, so I'm just off from work. Honorable Minister, thanks for showing up, even though the schedule could not permit you to stay longer with us. But thank you. This is the platform. You're welcome anytime to also contribute or give your input to national development, as you have always been doing. And before I take leave, I listened to the interview. It was totally a very unique one. Yeah, and I support a lot of the things you said during the interview. President Carter laid a foundation. He worked for it, even though at the time he was president in America, they did not honor him then. but during his lifetime, they got to realize that he was a good man. And I show your write up as well has some of those things in the lines of it that reference his great work. So thank you.
Yes, and as I said, please look forward to my piece with Prince Johnson. I'm
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to
I
get it done. I'm
yeah.
very likely the observer, they reach out to me and
When you publish it, just drop it in
yeah,
my inbox. And
because he got, that man, no matter what, his consistency in peace, building a university in his home, other things. There are not many people who did that. I'm not saying, well, he killed people. Yes, there, everybody makes mistake, but to
when
the
he fell,
extent that
people
you're able to
died.
reform, yes. So we just give God the glory and for you guys and your platform, and thank you for having me on. And whenever the need arises, like I said, just reach out to me and we can schedule it. Thank you so much.
And I think on this Jimmy Carter thing, a lot of us were together because I remember when Carter went to Liberia 1978, I was in 8th grade and we all stood the line. That was the first time
Oh,
I just
my man, me and you, and then we talk together about the way. So,
no, yeah, no,
well,
I'm talking about it's 1978. I was in 8th grade, I know.
we
So
started to see, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
1982.
Ah, yeah, though.
And so,
Yeah, leave for my boy, leave for. Man, my man.
then I go run into the Jimmy Carter in 2006 in Atlanta. I'm flying to I'm Chinchin flying in Atlanta, going to Houston. The flight delayed for 3 hours, no reason. They can't tell what happened. We need to go see when we boarded the plane. We sat another 30 minutes. Then the old man came in the plane. That old man made it his business to shake everybody's hand. I was in the middle of the plane. Ain't no response to American Airlines, ain't no local flight. I alone. I said, I wait a minute. I said, hey, let the old man reach me. Oh. But I think I know what you got. You didn't read it. I'm going to tribute to him. So the guy, he was like 2 rows before me. I said, hey. I was holding my breath. Then when he came to my row, then I said, "Oh, Mr. President, I'm very happy to see you in person because I remember when I was a little boy, you went to my country." He said, "Which country?" I said, "Liberia." I said, "My man, the thing I'm telling you, the old man hugged me. He said, wow,
Wow.
you from Liberia?
Wow.
Oh, I'm so sorry that my friend was killed in a military coup. They told me to now." Then he asked me, "So how is the country now?" I said, "Well, it's okay, but I live in Europe at the moment. I'm only visiting here." He said, "Oh." Then we stood up talk for almost like 3-4 minutes. And imagine the whole
Wow.
time everybody looking at this small money.
Yeah. Where the picking coming from trouble? The president, man.
I
They
said,
didn't know why you
I
brought to
got
the
home.
table.
First thing I told my sister, I said, "Guess what? What happened to the airport? I mean, in Atlanta." She said, "What?" I said, "I talked to Jimmy Carter." She said, "What?" I said, "Yeah." So yeah, I did write a little short tribute to him too. But so this is life. Nobody knows where life will take you. And we're just saying 78 small boys standing waving to the president. Hey, the party
Yeah,
for
these
I
days.
will come. No,
I remember they took out the city hall. We had to wave the Liberian
yeah,
flag.
Yes,
I was like my school, Pastor Teenage,
yes,
was right opposite
yes,
the agriculture ministry.
yes, yes, yes.
Well, but Mr.
Yeah.
Williams, it was good getting back to again together after many years. And in fact,
Yeah, we do.
when you have less time, normally we come on Thursday, or Tuesdays and Fridays.
Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, anytime you have less time and you got anything
Okay.
important that you want or to just discuss it as a
Okay.
contributing person to this platform, you can come. I mean, just leave
Okay.
a message with Guy or with me, and then you can come.
Okay.
And we don't need to invite you. Just come anytime
Okay.
you want, and then we
Okay.
can make it. Yeah, we can make it our home. And let's you see, we are in the business of educating people, and it's people like you
So
who
true.
can pass on some of that education with your vast experience.
So
So
true.
yeah, so we appreciate you being
Definitely.
here, and
Definitely.
we want to say thank you. And I don't know how to appreciate you, but like you said, it's God, and then we are back together. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
hmm Thank
Thank
you,
you.
guys. Yeah, and I'm very appreciative for the opportunity you afforded me. Thank you.
Mm.
God,
Okay,
give me a call when the program is over.
Okay,
okay,
I'll do that.
okay, okay. So, guys, that's it. We're happy to have the minister with us, and he delivered. He actually delivered, and so um we don't regret having him, and the time he spent with us was fruitful. So, Paul, I don't know if you have any other thing to say, or Guy, you just come in if you have anything to say. The time is fast spent, it's past 11 o'clock, so we need to be wrapping up.
Let me just say highs up to all of our followers. We are also on TikTok. I keep reminding our fans and followers that we are on TikTok. We are making arrangement as well to see if we will link the live streaming as well on TikTok so that we can stream there. But now we are on YouTube and we are on Facebook. So thanks for being there with us, and thanks to you, Link 4. Thanks to Lord Cholople, who is still keeping his Jack Daniel. And I say thanks to the entire team. I don't know when he's going to drink that Jack Daniel.
The Jack Daniel now have to drink a cup. Johnson
the man who held him to the neck to drink the Jack Daniel is gone. So I don't know what he will do. You got to do giveaway with that Jack Daniel. But I think in some ways reason with Minister Williams, because when you take a keen look at those people who contributed to the war, right? The Roosevelt Johnson, the Thomas, the Kouampa, from the Kouampa then time to Yaya Nimlen then time to Thomas Wowoyu, all of those people, I don't see any significant impact. And some of them claim to be reformed, some of them claim to be transformed, and they don't have any impact on the country. But you can see, let's take out the Basa of Prince Johnson and let's look at the many good he has done. Even up to today's politics, he is still contributing. You have a vice president that people see as a very unique character today. It is the Prince Johnson making.
Yeah.
You know, he has a very big university in Nimba County.
Guys, before you
go ahead.
You stress something about those people that you just called, they didn't make any difference. But there's an allegation here by this young man who's lying on the ground that the NSA that they sent him to, he called General Bob Naked, that was one of the persons that was torturing him. And this is concerning. So in his audio, he mentioned those names. And this another guy called Safa Norman. These are all ex-fighters. And they're now in that security apparatus torturing people. So it was big concerning when he on his audio listening, he kind of scared that I thought this General Bob Naked was being a new pastor who born again and was doing the right thing. So
Lord Linford, let me hold you there. Come here. Okay. Sorry for the distraction. Let me hold you there. The thing here is, right? When people are accused on mere allegations, we say, okay, those people can justify reasons behind their allegations or the reason behind their action. But in this case, it is either the people are fighting treason or they are fighting some felony. And these are crimes that they are state crimes. Anybody fall in it? My man, let's look at where our Capitol building. I just cracked a joke right here on the platform the other day. Way in the 40s, we had it established, broke grounds, and started building it. Some of us were not even around. And some Tom, Dick, and Harry, sorry for the language, just jump up one day and go and light it up. And when they catch them, they will want to say anything, they will want to drag anybody. But all I can say, let the law be the law. And I hope our authorities can justify sufficiently that these people have committed these crimes.
Granted, let the law be the law. But the law also said, if you arrest somebody for 48 hours and you need to send in the court, it means you have the evidence on that person. Interrogation, torture, is not the role of the police. The police already gathered the information. They said this was the cause. So they went for somebody. And after 48 hours, if that person not sent to court, you free them. The law is the law. Let's stick with the law. but we can't go beyond the law and do something extraordinary.
But Linford, I don't know to what extent. I don't know to what extent he's claiming he was tortured. I don't also know.
Let's put the law first.
Every security apparatus, right, has their own way of investigating and ways to get information out of people.
Yeah, but
even the FBI also torture is not part of it. Torture is not part of it. But there are some things that are done that security will not consider as torture. Security all around the world will not consider it as torture. So it is us who will consider that as torture.
Yeah, but okay, like you know, see, I hate to comment on things that I don't have total info because this guy is giving his side of the story, and we don't know what happened behind the security screen. But he came from there. It's like if I came from under the water, I'm wet, and I tell you say fire under the water, it'll be halfway to understand what I mean. But until you can go there,
but
so we were not behind the security
Linford,
screen.
our brother who was also arrested on the day of the fire incidents, who said he was not even part of the group that were protesting. He also said why in prison or why in detention, because he was detained, he was not in prison. And later he went to prison rather. But he said that while he was in prison, these things happened to him and he was going to provide facts. Yeah. But till now, I have not seen him providing the facts. Then another incident with this fellow that is lying on the ground. When Kalasco came from prison, he said he will provide facts. I'm waiting for the facts. I've not heard them. I've not seen them.
So the law says 48 hours when someone is arrested by the police. They go through questioning, they present the evidence that they have against them, and then after 48 hours, the person is sent to court. Beyond 48 hours is against the law. This guy went beyond 48 hours. So he came back, said, this is what happened. So that beyond 48 hours is the question here. Where is the law heading? Because you're not going by the book anymore.
Yeah, but
Linford, did he tell you why he was held for more than 48 hours? Don't just listen. Don't just listen because sometimes I've experienced it myself. I did several write-up for pre-trial detainees, and I've been pushing that. I'm one of the people pushing that, right? But some of the things that happen, some people are built, some people are appealing to be built out, and they've not met the criteria. They will be looking for lawyers, they will be looking for insurance companies, they will be looking for banks to build them and things like that.
No, it was not the case. Even if you're looking for a lawyer, the Constitution gives you.
I'm not finished. These are things that people will tell the public that they were detained for more than this time. Because they will have people going to bail them when they know they are seeking bail, then they will be there explaining different things to the public. It's happened many times with many of them that we know.
No, but in this case, he was detained for more than 4 days. The lawyer even the court requested his living body. So it is true that he was detained for more than 4 days. So it's not like you're making a story now. He was detained for more than 4 days.
If the court had requested his living body, then that means he was detained for a period longer than 2 days.
Okay.
The police, like I said, I'm not any spokesperson for the police.
But okay, let me just miss one observation. The names that the guy is calling, like Shafa Normal. I know Shafa Normal very, very well. He and his brother Sando Normal, I know them very, very well. Shafa Normal was in the MPFL. He was one of the generals. I know him very well. I don't know about his activities much, but I knew that Shafa was in the MPFL. He was a good friend of mine as well. The only person I'm not friendly with is his brother, his little brother. Okay, because we know cross paths, but Shafa, many times I met him. And then also Botneke. So if he's calling those kind of sensitive names, that should raise eyebrow. And so, but again, like I said, it's like somebody coming from under the water and say fire there, and you know fire and water cannot pull. So the story may not add up, but then how do we verify that?
And
It's
the
the only
police
But
not saying anything.
Linford, the names he's calling, has the people associated with the current regime?
No, they are in the security forces. They are in the NSA. They are not government officials. They are the in secret service. And but the thing here is, okay, ask yourself, why the police, no, felony, treason, all those crimes, they are against the state. Okay, so if the police is the first responder to any criminal activities or any crime, and they arrest somebody, why would they want to turn it over to the NSA? It should be the NSA arresting people after they have done their covert or overt operation, and then do investigation, because they do not just go and arrest you. They got to check on you first. They will check on you all kind of
So
way. Get
these are
fired and
these
then
are
arrest you.
things as well. These are things as well we can speak of because the joint security has a routine to carry on investigation to sort for answers when it comes to certain things that we can determine whether it should be the NSA who should be the first person to go responding or is the police.
No,
Obviously,
no.
the police
Okay,
should.
wait. In the instance where the police have arrested somebody, should they turn it over to the NSA? Because it is the other way around. The NSA will conduct investigations on suspect or on suspicion, and when they arrest somebody, then they turn it to the police, because the police will
But
now do
like I
deeper
said
investigation.
earlier, Linford, because this issue, right? Um, guys, hold on small.
We
So
actually
I
should be
need to
closing.
check
I
my.
think our protesting by again.
yeah,
We should be
we're gonna.
closing.
So if police came or the fire service came or says an arson attack on the building, granted, they identify people. That means they have the
So the
clear cut.
police.
Listen, now the
Let
police
me
have
respond this to Linford quickly before you come in. Sorry. The police has a point of turning him over or turning whoever over to the NSA because one thing I know that one of the police spokesmen said that the government will not even root out terrorism. I listened to that on one of the live interview on the same day. So there are several crimes committed against the state on that day that the police will be investigating. And if need be, they could seek support from the National Service Agency, Security Agency. So the NSA could not be rooted out for joining into the investigation. Because if it's terrorism, they should be part of
guys,
the investigation.
let me pragmatic here. You the police officer, you done your facts finding. NSA they work on the covert, how Linford called it, and they go on terrorism and they advise the president or security advisor to the president and they inform the police of what going to happen. That police, they will my people, say this person and go for it. So NSA provide that information to the police. If the police come out to say, oh, Paul Cholope stole, they have evidence I stole a bicycle. The police already have the information that I stole. They arrested me. So the police work is to get me in for the crime I committed. They charge me and pass me over to the court. The police does not pass people to the NSA. It's the other way around. The NSA inform the police of what is going to happen. Their work, they are the spy. They see things and they inform the police. But you don't take them for torturing. And the question here is, after 48 hours, if you don't have case against the person, you let them go. You don't take them to NSA for them to torture them, to extract information from there, whereby you already have the information, say, this is the reason why we arrested you, because you stole a bicycle. That's it. the case here. So NSA wouldn't report to the president, did not report to police. They found information and the John security, they provided information. It's not going to happen.
Sorry, I was speaking to Locholople. Locholople, the police do not, how you call it, render verdict on people. The police only listen to what each of the parties involved.
Yeah, but
In any investigation, it could be the public, it could be eyewitnesses, it could be eyewitnesses or whoever that the police will hear from. The police write a charge,
dragging this thing here. The thing simple, guy.
Send you to court.
No, it's simple. I told you, the NSA is like the CIA, the FBI. They operate undercover. That's why you don't see NSA people wearing uniform walking around. They are not visible. They operate undercover. They're not supposed to have a house. Okay, so the guy arrested by go put in jail. So NSA that correction officer no.
But who said the NSA not?
They're not. Read it out. They're not.
Detention cell. All over the world.
They're not supposed to have detention cell.
No, all over the world they do.
Anyway, that'll be, check it
They
out.
do.
For
maybe I need to do more research. But what I do know, you see, the thing is, that's why you don't know them. So after the NSA could be your fellow, the NSA officer could be your fellow best friend that you don't know. He come here checking on you. You think he'll arrest you later. You will tip off. That's why they operate.
Gentlemen, let me say thanks for the show, and let me take leave of you guys.
No, you already before you go, you already concluded that somebody burned the building, so they know because the CCTV now show who burned the building. So you go for this person, but you cannot provide the evidence. So you say him for torturing, and you said that is okay.
No, I am not saying it's okay. That is not what I'm saying. I am also against the fact that somebody will be kept in prison or detention for over 4 days. I am against it. But like I said, I cannot stand to justify that the guy is saying the truth and that the police is also doing the right thing. What I'm saying is these things happen from both angles in different ways.
Yeah, none of us here can come up with a definite, definitive, statement, because the thing is, like I said, nobody. If you see somebody coming from under the water, you see my man, I carry water, I got big fire under the water there, the lie, because we consider a lie until we go there. So for me, the guy talking about torture, I can't confirm it or I can't deny it, but it's also possible. The fact that you were held for 4 days. And when he came out, he was in bad condition. And the names that he calling, he may have called somebody name from the south side, but the people they may calling they are hardcore, warlords. And so it's possible that this, remember, it was the same Shafan Norman then who was supposed to be with Nathaniel Magay during the Jovia government. They were the ex-rebel generals who Magay should be working with always, and I don't know why they still keeping these people. And why did they allow themselves to be? They suffered no more when he was in America. I don't know what brought him back to Liberia. And yeah, because I remember, 2006, when I went to Minnesota, me, Shafa, no more, and all the rest of the boys went to play football game that morning. Okay? So I don't know what brought him back to Liberia, but maybe he couldn't stay there. And then no, let me tell you, we were talking about the Prince Johnson factor. And I think the biggest question people are asking now, I sat down, I was thinking, Paul, I don't know what you would say about this. What if Doe has survived Prince Johnson and Doe with all the evil thing he did too? If he had died, will he have a state funeral like this? And Prince Johnson, who killed a certain president, having state funeral like this? And so, what precedent are we setting?
The precedent that that been set in Liberia, Linford, you have to be one of those notorious person, and then everybody worship you. That's the precedent that been set. You cannot. That's why you don't find good people. You find the good people, the quiet in Liberia, but the bad guys, people worship them. And the parade of Prince Johnson, and you see people crying,
take you out to the street wearing all kind of red things. They pretend to be like rebels, especially the women that I saw. They just tell you that you have to
but
pay.
okay, with that aspect, it is automatic and it is just indisputable that people in Nima County, not everybody, but most of the people in Nima County will honor and revere Prince Johnson. That I'm sure, because they consider him as their liberator, their godfather, and whatever. But I'm talking about the federal government that was trying to institute war crimes code against Prince Johnson. Okay, so what if they have brought a war crimes code? Prince Johnson is found guilty, and he go to jail. So what would they do? So so they were. I sat down for long. I started thinking. I said, but when they open book of condolence where government officials going to go sign, this is the same man who we wanted to take to war crimes school. But I think we need to talk about that thing when the next time we come here on Friday. Yeah. That would be. But I think they finish burying him already. Let it bury the old man. Let him rest. Let him go. All die and go to our same place. So let him go rest. But we got to be people of principle. We got to serve.
And this is where wrong. The people they massacre in Nima, not Nima, but Lutheran Church that went to ECOWAS code that the government refused.
Yes.
You see what I mean? Let's talk on. Yeah, my man. It was a great show.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a great show. So we'll meet here on Friday. And for those of you who follow us through, we want to say thank you. We are very grateful. Without you, we cannot be here, and without all you not be here. The reason is you're not just sitting and look at your computer, or I'll be drinks on your knee. And you kept us going, and we also kept you going. Thank you for watching, and we catch you on Friday.
Yeah.
So let me see. Yeah. This is how we like to close up. Where is it?
This is the Bottom Line Liberia. Join us on Facebook, YouTube.